Our legacy will endure for generations to come.
Peace, peace. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Right.
Welcome
right.
back. Welcome to Moorish History TV.
Yes.
We have part 2 of a phenomenal build and discussion with our comrade Sharif Anael Bey, National Press Secretary, correct?
Yes.
For the
Yes, sir.
for the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated.
Yes, sir.
Right, and we of course we got our co-founder Al Mansour and
Yes,
myself, Mansour Muhammad, and we just want to get the first show we did. We had to lay out the historical context of everything
Correct.
that we wanted to speak about, and in this part 2, we're going to discuss all of the elements that pertain to that history and to the modern day and how everything relates.
Right.
So, which was the initial point of our discussion. So, without further ado, let's get into the details of these things.
Right. So, I want to say, first of all, I'm honored to be in the presence of such esteemed scholars and statesmen. You know what I mean? Representatives. This is I'm honored. And I bring, based on that last show, right? I bring greetings from Brother R. Jones Bey, the Grand Sheik and moderator of the Moorish Science of America Incorporated. He was like, he said, that was special. That show, I mean, very seriously, it gave the movement, at large, a good look.
Yes.
It really did. It really did.
Yes,
it really did. Hence the haters and the naysayers.
Oh yeah, of course. They always around the corner. They always lurking. And let me say again, I'm honored too, as well, because this is again we're reinvigorating the Moorish paradigm. You know what I mean? And I think that we all, those of us who are the light bearers for our generation,
yes,
we've kind of sat back and watched a lot of foolishness proliferate, and it's time to get things back on track. And only the Moors in the Moorish community and Moorish Americans can do that. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to say I'm honored as well, because this is a major thing for our community, for us to all combine forces. And again, it's an honor to be up here with an esteemed scholar and statesman. I called you that in one of my posts too. I said, the brother Sharif Anael Bey he's a Moorish statesman. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying, bro. I gotta tell you, seriously. I mean, think about, we all, come from interesting and similar backgrounds. So the polish that we see on each other now, once upon a time wasn't there.
Yeah.
We're all developing, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it's also beautiful and gratifying when others see it on you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like we say, may Allah make us better than what those think of us. And I also want to give my honors to Brother Al Mansour.
Yes, sir.
I've known this brother for over 15 years.
Beautiful.
And the level of research, like, a lot of people don't realize our community owes a great honors to him for the amount of research that he has done and uncovered for our community and for the nation at large. So I definitely want to give honors to you, my brother. You know what I mean? Keep doing a phenomenal job. Alhamdulillah. And we're gonna open it up. You know what I mean? So if there's any statement you want to make, Al Mansour, before we get started.
I'm always honored to be amongst the Moors.
Yes, sir.
This is definitely a meeting of the minds.
Absolutely.
And coming with nothing but authentic sources and credible information. And gotta give honors to Brother Sharif for coming through on the last show with some new bars. Some head cracks that I do a lot of research, and there was some things you pulled out. I had came across. You know what I mean? So
But likewise,
that.
here I am, brother. At one point, I'm pulling out something. I'm thinking, I'm like, man, this right here is a bomb. And as I'm introduced, I'm like, wait a minute. I got this from you guys. Gotta give credit where credit's due, bro. Serious.
Yeah.
Feel
Honest.
sharp still.
Yeah.
Honest to Brother Manson, you know.
Honest, my
Yes.
brother. Honest.
Brother Manson's been leading the movement in the online interface and presentation of
Honest.
pretty
Honest.
much a lot of what we present to the public is
Yes, sir.
he dots the I's and cross the T's.
Honest, my brother. Honest.
Super important.
Alhamdulillah for that, because
Yeah.
we need that, you know.
Alhamdulillah. That's right.
That's honest.
Other than that, man, you know, I'm honored. I'm ready to get into it, you know.
Yeah, let's go.
Put some heat out, man.
For sure. And just on one point, real quick, and you said something important, brother Sharif, that
Yes.
we got to give credit where credit is due.
Always.
You know, we don't get paid to do this. This is a labor of love. This is for the benefit of our people. And that is the only way we get paid to do what we do, is to give credit where it's due. So that's why I'm really big on accrediting where I got something from, who introduced me to it, and honoring their perspectives and thoughts and data and information that's shared between us, and acknowledging the efforts put forward.
Yes,
so without further ado, with that said, we left off on the last show speaking about Steve Bannon's worldview.
That is the perfect segue.
Come on now, brother.
That's the perfect segue.
And
you know,
his worldview was shaped from his Catholic school upbringing, which taught that Ferdinand and Isabella saved the world from the Catholic perspective and the European perspective from the Moors and from Islam. And so what we have today, when we see the rampant Islamophobia, the ramp up of the immigration, the doubling down on our people, you know, we see these things as a mirror running parallel to the things that were done during the Reconquista of Al-Andalus. You know, very similar. And in fact, I believe that is the playbook that they're going to, because a lot of times people have it in their mind that they can't just kick people out, and they've done it before. They've done the things that are being done today have been done before. You know what I mean? There was a book called I believe it's called The Story of the Moors. It's an old book, very old book. You can get it on Google Books.
Yes, sir.
I believe in that book, it spoke about how at the time of the Reconquista and the fall of Granada, there was about only 500 full-blooded Moors left in Al-Andalus. You know, so whether that's accurate or not,
that's deep,
is not the point I'm speaking to. The point I'm speaking to is the fact that out of the entirety of Al-Andalus being ruled by the Moors, either through miscegenation or mixing in, or rather through the expulsion, there was only 500 full-blooded Moors left in Al-Andalus. And so as we segue that into now, I'll open the floor up to you, brothers. We'll start with you, brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
You know, what do you want to pick up at?
You know, that's powerful what you just said. I'm a firm belief that the powers that be, you know, are playing by the old world rule book. Firm belief, like, for instance, and I've pointed this out to my temple members before. One of my members asked, this was during the Obama era. They were like, Grand Sheik, why are they these people? And when they said these people, they're talking about those on the far right. The European evangelicals said, why do they keep calling Barack Obama a Muslim when he belongs to a church? And he's a self-professed Christian. Right. I said, for the exact same reason that these same people will, despite his blatant indiscretions and immorality, call Donald Trump a good Christian. Because under old world rules, religious identity was a primary way to identify people.
Absolutely.
So I told my members to oversimplify. In that time period, if they said Muslim or Muslim, the presumption was that you were brown skinned. And if they said Christian, the presumption was that you were pale skinned. Which is why even early in the slavery history, they wouldn't call quote unquote Negroes Christians. They say Christian converts. Just like Morisco or Morano.
We had this segue into this the other night where we talked about Bacon's Rebellion. Me and Manson was having a discussion, a sidebar, and I was noting that when they initially implemented the white identity, it was ascribed to the Christians. And then later it evolved rather to strictly the pale skin tone or melanin deficiency.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something? As a result of what though? As a result of the quote unquote Negroes converting to Christianity and having access to that white status that they were carving out.
Right.
As a result of quote unquote Negroes converting to Christianity and getting access to the white status, they then further restricted its application and definition to those who are either melanin deficient or were pale skinned. And we use those terms because we are being cognizant and acknowledging how the white and black status applies in this particular situation and scenario, as to not make a blanket statement and just say white people, because we know at that time, we can go back for history for eons and see that black, we know black is an English word, but its meaning in other languages have been applied to not only it being a description of a people, but it being the label or identifier or identifying mechanism of a people. Whereas white had existed as a status in the ancient world, but never as exclusively as a people until Bacon's Rebellion.
Come on now.
But we have to be specific when we say the ancient world, because it was exclusively used by the Leucothopes of North Africa. And Ethiopia is a part of that term, but the Luke represented what we would call white, hence the status. It was the status, you know, the skin tone was what we would say African.
Yes.
So we just got to note that, because it was not used in Europe until after the American colonies implemented it.
That's fact. That's
interesting.
Fact.
Yeah,
and
they followed the American colonists.
And it took time, as you both pointed out, for it to gel into what we have today.
Yes.
A lot of times, one of our problems in the modern time, and the average layperson, when doing so-called research, they're looking at ancient times with modern eyes.
Right.
With the presumption that the way it is today is the way it's always been.
Right.
You know, when you say when you point out very simple things, like in the 80s, the Germans and the Italians and the Irish were not considered white.
Right.
And that they became white.
I think they actually just was making comments in the media about forcing Italians to go back to Italy. Italian Americans go back to Italy because they ain't considered white. I mean, we know they got the legal recognition at some point, but you know, Anglo-Americans is pulling the white card on Italian Americans right now.
Right now. It's
social
this
media.
whole thing is reversing. You know, the American Anthropological Association said it this way. They said that the category white begs scrutiny. That's a nice way of saying they keep redefining it as conditions change.
Absolutely.
It keeps having to be redefined. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? Was interesting, very fluid. And what's interesting about you guys both bringing that point up is we have to also acknowledge this element. All of the groups who are considered white now had to get accepted in. The Irish weren't initially white. Like you said, the Germans weren't initially white. The Italians specifically weren't considered white.
No.
And the North Africans and Arabs wasn't considered white. In fact, it was a case where a Syrian guy came to America. I believe he was Syrian. And, you know, it was a thing in early America in the context of the Ellis Island, the early 1900s, where we had this mass immigration of Europeans coming into this to these borders, where they were fighting to be classified as white because they did not want to be associated with the Negroes or the blacks or those labeled as such. And so
Correct.
several of these communities fought actual legal cases, had cases to do such. And in fact, one element was, I believe he was Syrian. He wanted to be classified as white and they denied him. And he said, well, if Jesus is from, you know, the Middle East and you say Jesus is white, then I got to be white. This is, I'm paraphrasing. This is the basis. This is the basis of it. And I find that interesting because when we start to look at
that's crazy.
It is, you know, and that when I get some time, I might, when y'all talking, I'll pull a case up. But the point I'm making is we see this over and over in America where there's this fight to be included into the white category, to be juxtaposed to us. However, we even see with the Free Sundry Moors petition, where these guys freed themselves from slavery. They were, I believe they were put into captivity. They were subjects of the emperor, the Sultan of Morocco.
That's right.
And when I believe the Negro Act dropped, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, fact check, this is just from the memory bank.
No doubt.
They filed a petition as free sundry. Now, sundry means what? All or various, correct?
Assorted, that's right.
Assorted, right. You see, so it meant that various or assorted different types of Moors, you know what I mean, coming together, and this represents us that we don't want to be classified as under this Negro Act.
That's
you
right.
See? And I believe they didn't rule on the petition, but a year later, it was in South Carolina that petition was filed, but I believe a year later, the Immigration Act was passed, was 1790.
The Free White Persons Act.
That's a separate act, or it was a part of the Immigration Act?
I think they one and the same.
I believe they're one and the same, where it mentions free white persons.
Right.
Yeah, the Naturalization Act 1790.
Yeah, Naturalization, that's right. Naturalization Act, exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the benefit of having three scholastic minds. You know, everybody's a dictionary or encyclopedia that can fact check. But yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just find that interesting.
Very interesting. You know, and again, like we mentioned this in a previous show. Matter of fact, there's a paper written by, I forgot the guy's last name, but you can Google it right now. And I highly recommend the paper all the time. The title of the paper is The Iberian Roots of American Racist Thought.
Now
the title itself, right?
All in the title.
Exactly.
All in the title. Because, you know, we had a segue the other night, me and Manson, and I was bringing up that the concept of the freedmen in American history is but a consequence of the foros moros of Portugal. And foros moros meant freed Moors. So there's a group, there's a class or categorization of people historically in Portugal that were Moors that were freed in the beginning of the colonial era, ultimately.
Oh, wow.
1400s, 50s, something like that. Might even go back to the 1200s, I'm thinking, too, because, I'll say the 1300s. We can look into it to be sure, but I know that Portugal turned into a nation in the 1300s.
Yes, sir.
So probably it's following that there's a group of people recorded as foros moros, meaning freed Moors.
Wow.
So, and then when you just look at the Negro laws and you compare them to the laws that Portugal was putting out centuries before that, you can see where the inspiration came from, because it's not too many things that are distinct other than the language, you know, and the names of the sovereignties.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
if you could continue on that point, Brother Sharif, that you were going to make, because I want to follow it up with that actual book and read probably just the first paragraph from it.
Yes.
But please, continue your thought.
What was I speaking about?
About the Iberian roots of American racist thought.
The paper is called The Iberian Roots of American Racist Thought. And the way I explain it to my members is like this. First and foremost, it's narrative correction, as we talked about in the previous show. Narrative is always the secret, right? So with the narrative correction, we've been taught and socializing to think that African slavery began as commerce. We were just dumb walking around minding our business, and they'd start snatching us up. Not that it was actually a war, right? And so it became commerce after the war. It became that, just like a number of the European present a-national oligarchies got their start during Vietnam, low-key moving. Okay, all right. So anyway,
right. Talk to him now,
right? You know, so you know, it became Vietnam War. We all know dehumanization is the #1 psychological operation. If I can dehumanize you, it makes you easier to kill.
Absolutely.
Very simple, right? So you see it all the time.
Could I validate that? Could I validate that for you?
Please.
So during Obama's administration, they were seeking to get terrorists, the term terrorists, to be labeled as subhuman.
Yes.
He was petitioning or he was working with Congress to try to get terrorists that term to classify anyone as subhuman. Because if you can classify them as subhuman, now you can do what you say. I just want to qualify that. Continue, please.
And even with our people, this is like literally what we're talking about. If we can exclude them from the families of nations, we rob them of their humanity. And now, who's coming for them? Who's going to check? Who's checking for them?
Exactly.
We do what we want. You know, that's literally the narrative we're fighting against now. That's why, hence, some of the guys in the comment section of some of those shorts were talking crazy, like, man, y'all not Moors. Black people are done it. They want to keep you black.
Right. And
they want to keep you right there.
What is this concerted effort? Now, it's not like we're saying that these other people aren't a part of whatever identity we're saying we are. But what is this incessant need to exclude us?
To exclude us from the rest of the families of nations.
Precisely. You have to look into that. Somebody
gets a benefit from that.
Exactly.
During the contemporary of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he said this. He said, matter of fact, I just want to read, I could paraphrase it, but I want to be very accurate. This is how he said it. It was very powerful. And it's to that point. But also, too, he was using applied psychology because look at the time he was in when he was saying these things. He couldn't talk crazy, right? But that said, this is what he said. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard. Because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Now, here we go. This is where he sticks up the status quo. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike.
In
other words, what's he saying in so many words? Why are you not enforcing this on the so-called Negro?
Right.
Do you get a benefit from not doing so?
Right. Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely. And to the point of your family and nations point.
Yes.
We know in the Holy Quran, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is revealed to him. Allah says in the Quran that I made you into tribes and nations so that you may know each other and not despise each other. So that shows you that there's a divine connection to having a nationality and having a national identity.
Brother,
and to be stripped of such
think about it
takes
like
you
this,
out
brother.
of the fold of the creation and one of the children of Adam.
You got it. Just that simple. So, you know, you hear our brothers in the East saying, no, brother, there's no room for nationality. It's one ummah. It's one ummah. Go to Mecca and watch those national flags.
I've been there. I see. See. Let me talk to the trick bag. You know, they hit you. So see, what happens is because our people were stripped of that.
Yes.
Right. And they haven't been stripped of theirs. A lot of times they believe that when we are making this an important issue, that we're calling to nationalism, i.e. tribalism. And that's not what we're doing.
Not what we're doing.
Because nationalism or tribalism is speaking to, I'm better than you because of my nation.
Yours.
Right. And that's completely different than saying this is who we are. And this is our identity. You see what I'm saying? Because I'll keep it real with you too. Everybody has an understanding of their religions, of the religion of. We're gonna go in here. So everybody has they see the religion through a cultural context.
You got it. No, you
relative to their national identity.
You got it. I'm glad you said it that way. See, like how we do religion. Like, you know, of course, you know, people will look at how we practice in the Moorish side and Silver Ring and say, well, that's not Islam. Okay, fine. Right? But the way in which we see religion is that it's not, see, in the West, we've been trained and socialized to think of religion as secular. We secularize religion. How? It becomes hobby. Oh, I'm going to the masjid on Juma. Oh, I'm going to the synagogue on Sabbath. Oh, I'm going to church on Sunday. It's just something you do, right? Whereas true religion should be your culture. It should permeate every aspect of human activity. You know what I mean? It needs to permeate. I don't want to just be Muslim on Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This is what I 24
Prophet
hours
Muhammad brought when he brought the last revelation, because it was a last revelation, not a new religion. Even when Noble Ali says it's an old time religion, it's the creed of Abraham, right?
You got it, bro.
So the thing is that when the new revelation is supposed to upgrade your culture, not erase it.
Not erase it, bro. That's why we call him Katamanabi. Right?
100%. The seal of the prophets.
He confirmed everything that went before him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so just to move the needle forward of what you're speaking about.
Yes.
When you said the secular aspect, we talked about this briefly on the last show about the Treaty of Westphalia and this concept of secularizing, of secularism in general. Because prior to the Treaty of Westphalia, there was no separation between your religion and your national laws.
And that's right.
In your identity, because they were, and even if you speak to any of the seasoned attorneys or lawyers, right? If you speak to any seasoned lawyer, they'll tell you that a nation's laws derive from their religion.
Brother, a nation's laws are nothing more, and it might be an oversimplification, but I'll just say it, are nothing more than the codified principles of that nation's religion.
Absolutely.
Because it's our national religion that gives us our principles, and when we live them out in a communal sense, that's culture, and then law comes out of that.
Absolutely.
Our code of conduct.
And that might be what makes the USA unique in comparison to other nations, because
come on now,
it has taken from Christendom, it has taken from Islam, it has taken from Judaism, it has taken from this, it's taken from that. It will take the good from whatever it finds useful to incorporate and then hybridize its system versus others that will just rely on maybe solely their ancestral background.
Now, Brother Al Mansour, you sparked me last show when you were mentioning, because I'd never heard this before, and it's making me rethink a number of things. when you mention that in the Arabic version of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, that the Emperor of Morocco referred to the United States as a Christian nation, despite the fact that Thomas Barclay and others on the American side says we're in no way, shape, form, fashion a Christian nation, right? I've always noted the dichotomy, but you just added more weight to the dichotomy when you brought that out. I never saw it that way, right? But again, bringing it right down to the present time, that's we're in a war of narratives right now.
Absolutely.
Well, when we've got the neo-Confederates in the White House, basically like, yeah, we'd never stop fighting the Civil War.
Right.
Now we're in the White House as opposed to fighting the White House. Now we're in the White House, and we say this is a Christian nation, and we're about to make it so.
Right. And the first part of their rhetoric is to say, and you have to, sometimes you can actually just admire your opposition.
Yes.
Sometimes your opposition is just so admirable, the way they move and the way they do things when you're in the thick of conflict, right?
Yeah.
The first thing they move to establish is that Islam is not compatible with Western values.
Ain't that something?
Right.
Ain't that something?
So we have to understand the framing of when people say this is Western civilization. Now that tactic you're talking about, El, is a Roman tactic. That's not new. To absorb the value systems that
that's
are beneficial.
How Kronos became Saturn, and that's how Jupiter became Zeus.
Exactly. You see? So that is the Roman way.
Yeah.
That is the Roman way, right? And we know that eagle, is representative of New Rome, right?
Straight like
in
that.
so many ways.
Yeah.
And so the first thing they move to do is to say that Islam is not compatible with Western values and Western civilization. So where do we get this thing about using directions to define realities, right? Because when we talk about what's Western, then we have to go and precede the colonial efforts that Christendom, via the Christian doctrine of discovery, superimposed on this hemisphere.
See, brother, now we're getting down to, you got me amped up. I'm going to tell you why. You know what happens with the Moorish movement relative to some of the other movements that are around here for our people, how they like to brand us as traitors or brand us as
let's talk about it.
On the sideline and we're not really engaged in the, right? And I had to tell this one brother who was kind of saying something like that. I said, listen, brother, all due respect, none of y'all have the weapons to fight the narrative like we do. I said, I can show you. I can prove it. You all are trying to fight the narrative, the status quo within the caste system. You're trying to fight it inside of it, bro. You're presuming that the positions in the caste system are solid and unchangeable. We're challenging the system itself. See,
absolutely.
We're challenging it from the only safe space there is, and that's outside of it. And then what are we doing? Psychoanalyzing the system. That's what we're doing. In other words, like, okay, to use a cliche term, I mentioned this last show about racism. Racism ain't the shark about to bite you when you're in the water. Racism is the water itself that you both are in. What are we doing? Moorish science drains the water. It drains the swamp. That's what it does. See?
To that point, that's an excellent way to put it. Excellent way. And to camelback, not piggyback, but to camelback off of that, and to add value to those statements.
Yes, sir.
I tell people all the time, like, listen, when you want to look at what is the biggest threat to the status quo, it is the Moorish paradigm. There isn't a paradigm higher than the Moorish paradigm. I don't care what name you're using. Like I tell people, sometimes people are impressed, and I give every group, I believe that everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen, and every group is doing what they're supposed to do to a point. And so, you know, I love my Hebrew brothers. You know, people look at their demonstration and see the marching and the this. You know, you got your FBA, you got your ADOS, which is these new modern movements. Then you have, you know, some of your Christian movements, and then you got all this stuff going on.
You got a lot.
And they say, well, what about the Moors? I said, the Moors are the lawmakers and the mental liberators and the scholars.
Yes.
Because in Islam, we have a notion we go by that the ink of a scholar is worth more than the blood of a martyr.
Woo! That's powerful.
That's
powerful.
Only the Moors have the technology. It's technology. Only the Moors have the technology.
Bingo.
Because what they don't realize is psychological warfare is first and is foremost. So
first and foremost.
When El Mansour, you say this all the time. You say if you survive the battlefield, you still have to go to court. You still have to play, and you still have to end up in a situation where there's a dialogue taking place, right? And only the Moors have the technology to defeat the narratives and the reframings and the dialogues.
Brother, that's actual fact. For instance, I was watching Steve Miller. I don't think it was Turning Point. It was some event where he was going crazy, man. He sounded like Hitler, for real.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I saw that one.
He sounded crazy. But what were they doing? Pom-pomming the beauty and the powers of Western civilization. Yo, and people around me, other Asiatics, they were like, oh, man, I was laughing. I was laughing. They said, you're not bothered. I said, I'm not in the least bothered. I said, because I know the origins of Western civilization. That's why. I know they built the new world order of Western civilization on the ashes of the old world order of Western civilization that ruled them for nearly 800 years. That's why they can never mention Moorish history, because they would have to admit that they were not always superior.
That's right. That's why it's mum's the word.
Exactly.
Right.
You see? That's why they keep quiet about that. And to your point, what's so poignant about it is that when we examine the fact that what they built was on top of what we had established, unless you buy into the narrative that we were slaves and this in our because sometimes I try to establish with the brothers that are into these new movements that I try to tell them, like, listen, if you start your history in slavery, you can never be more than that.
You've already lost.
You can
never go higher than that.
You can never go higher than that. That's where you start your history. You can never go higher than that. And you have to see what happened here as continuity of what came before it. So that when you make the links, you build the bridge to recover that which was taken. And when you're able to mentally and systemically, through the dialogue and through the research, recover that, you're now armed with the truth. And what that truth does is dispels and refutes and defeats the psychological warfare that they placed on us and the world, but by trying to get the world to believe the same thing.
Bro, to your point, some of the brothers who may oppose your perspective, what you just shared, they say, no, we do have continuity, you know, because our people built pyramids. Pause. You said something very clear. Okay, you break a line, you have to reattach it at the point. Bro, not back here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Ancient Egypt was here.
That's right. That's facts.
Attach here. You got to attach where it was broken.
Right.
See, that's why this history, this aspect of our history as a people in the world is so important relative to Western civilization, because it's the erasure and the hiding of this history that allows their paradigm to exist at all.
1,000%. 1,000%. And to that point,
yes,
I think I was talking about it on this show, and I think I figured out again how to play that video, so I'll pull it up. Again, I was in Venice, and I met the guys who's making this Moorish jewelry, and he instantly called me a Moor.
That's so crazy.
Instantly. When I was in Egypt, the Egyptians, the Egyptians that are there today, walking around the pyramids, they weren't even trying to sell me anything, because people they'll say things to try to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to sell me anything. They said, "You look like original Egyptian."
Ooh.
I went down to Nubia on the same trip. They said, cousin, you look Nubian. So
that's powerful.
Very powerful. So
that's powerful.
When you say "mum's the word," I just have to say that is outside of themselves, because in their little circles, they passing on the keys to each other about who we are.
Absolutely.
There was a 2024 American Bar Association article that came out discussing the Moorish invasion of Iberia in context of the creation of the rules of war.
Do you want me to pull it up? You want me to pull it up? You got it in front of you?
By all means. Nah. I could. Yeah, you know what? I got this one right here. Hold up. Let me
just shoot it to me. You can
pull
talk.
this one
I'll just pull it up. Yeah.
But I wanted to say, back when we had the MLF website, there was another one that's not the same article, because that was years ago.
Yeah.
But they just did one in 2024. So my point is the ABA here and there has journalists that have to reference something related to the Moors. Every so often.
Yeah, brother, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to bring up my assistant Grand Sheik. His name is Brother C. Martin Stansel. He's a public educator. He teaches in a high school in Rochester, New York. He did his master's thesis on the Moorish Holocaust. And of course, he had professors, his professor, and students ready there to vet it. You know how that works, right? Vetting process. Brother, no one, students or professors, asked him one question. And when he pulled his professor aside, he said, "Why didn't you all challenge my thesis?" And he said there was none to challenge. Then they said this. The professor said this. Normally, people wait until their doctorates to write about the Moors. Nobody writes about the Moors. And hold on, it gets better. He said, "Why not?" You know what his professor told him? Because it's too dangerous to.
Yeah, see? They talk about it amongst themselves. They don't want us. They don't want us picking up the pieces.
Wow.
You know?
And from my other experiences, it's my firm opinion. The reason being, the primary reason, is because it's narrative, not just narrative challenging, it's narrative shattering.
Shattering.
It's narrative shattering. All anybody has to do is Google Al-Zuryab. Just Google Al-Zuryab. Y'all know who Al-Zuryab was, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was his nickname, as you all know. But man, when you find out that this man introduced to the Western world, Western civilization, the 4-course dinner, drinking out of crystal instead of metal goblets, and deodorant, toothpaste.
Talk to him. Civilization.
Hygiene.
Thank you. Western civilization.
And you know what was interesting too is when we look at what happened during COVID.
Yes.
What were they telling people? Wash your hands 3 times, go between the fingers. This is something we do as Muslims when we're purifying ourselves and making wudu. You understand?
Make wudu, bro.
So
we make wudu. That's a fact.
Staying clean, cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
It sure is.
In Islam.
Sure is.
In their tradition,
yes,
the dirtier they were, the closer they felt to God.
No. That's right.
In Europe, especially during the bubonic plague, right?
Yep.
So I bring that up just to point out that to camelback off El Mansour's point, when we look at this article, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I just want to show the people this is the American Bar Association. This is this is the entity that is responsible for all of the attorneys and lawyers in the country.
Yep, ABA.
You have to be a part of them to practice in any of the courts, jurisdiction of the United States of America.
I sent the second one too, but
okay. This one is from May 10th, 2024. And just skipping down, it says the persistence of war. Wars have been reported for as long as memory has been recorded. There's literally no time in recorded history when there hasn't been a war between neighboring countries, tribes, or cities. Biblical wars are a huge part of the Old Testament. Wars have served to define entire centuries and had the effect of altering the course of human history and national or regional borders in significant ways. The map of Europe over the centuries illustrates the consequences of invasions and wars, including, perhaps most notably, the fall of the Roman Empire or the Moorish invasion of Southern Europe. Why does this repeatedly
keep coming up?
Keep coming up. Why?
Again, that one source that I got from you all that speaks to the Moorish invasion and rulership of Europe, where, hold on. And it says in the, it was the guy's doctorate dissertation, it was from his doctorate dissertation, where he says Spain and Portugal could never forget or forgive. They're still, and as we just pointed out with Steve Bannon, bro, not only did they not forget or forgive, it's still that history, that point in history still shapes their politics today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to that point, when Stephen Miller was going off about we built Rome and we built Greece and we did all of these different things, right?
Right.
Here's the interesting thing about it, and I can totally understand,
yes,
and comprehend why the Moorish conquest of Andalus, the expulsion and the Reconquista, is that pivotal moment for them, specifically because when I was at the Louvre in France. Because one thing, I took a few years off to just travel the world and say, let me go and document. Let me go find out what's in these places.
Yeah.
The Louvre itself is a fort, was a fort. So you got to think about all of the museums are basically treasury depositories of looted treasure.
Yeah, for real.
You see? And it was literally a fort. And they had one item in there, or maybe two or three, that goes into who the Greeks were. And when you look on the pottery, they were black skinned in the pottery.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm gonna take it even further for you.
Yeah.
When I went to the UK and went to the British Museum of History, phenomenal.
Yes.
I encourage everyone to take that trip. The British don't lie about anything. The Etruscans, the Greeks. Now the Etruscans we know is a progenitor to the Roman Empire.
That's right.
Right? And
correct.
All of the pottery there, all of the examples had black skin representation of the ancient Etruscans and the Romans. Now, when I went to the Vatican.
And the Romans or the Greeks?
On the reason I say Etruscans.
Because you said Etruscans and the Romans. I know the Etruscans preceded the Romans.
I meant Etruscans and Greeks.
But
it don't say Romans.
All right. That's what I thought you meant. All right.
I was going to make the Rome connection now. I meant Etruscans and Greeks. Glad you caught that. But the Etruscans and the Greeks, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so when I was in Rome and we're in the Vatican and we're looking at these statues, the tour guide specifically said, oh yeah, these statues, they lost their color. They're white now, but they all used to be colored with like black and brown. I just looked at everybody. I said, nobody caught that but me. And then, and I'll pull this up this show. I got to pull up the picture. They have a book of Michelangelo. And Michelangelo is a Moor. He's a brown-skinned man in the book. You see it on the cover. So what we know really is Rome, Greeks, that wasn't their civilizations.
No,
wasn't their civilization.
Not exclusively.
No, that's the truth.
those are Moorish civilizations. They rebranded all of these
Right.
civilizations because
And I just want to
when
end
you
this
look
part.
at
I just want to end this
go ahead,
part.
go
You
ahead,
could
go
go,
ahead.
Element. So my
Yeah.
point is that it's not until you get to Isabella and Ferdinand, Portugal and Spain that they actually start their own civilization. I digress. I land my plane there.
And I wouldn't even say that. I would say that they pretty much took over ours.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
Yes. Yes.
But no, but before what I was about to say a minute ago was simply that several of the Roman emperors were Berbers.
Actual fact.
Hence Moors. So the narrative that they like to present to us through Hollywood and even their educational institutions is just a hodgepodge of mixed and matched and making it fit to serve their purposes, because they don't show the Moors, the Romans,
Right.
as Berbers. And when they do show a real Berber, for example, in Hollywood, he's a slave, is a gladiator. That's the best you could get. A gladiator that's
Right.
a slave, never the emperors or the nobles, when such is far from the truth.
That's
When Denzel did The Last Gladiator 2, he portrayed Macrinus, I think it
Yep.
was.
Macrinus. Yep.
There was a European woman that did a social media video. She was some kind of historical expert in the field.
Yes.
And she said the movie was not authentic because the two twin emperors were also Berbers and should have been portrayed by black men like Denzel.
That's the truth.
Wow.
But what did Hollywood do? They gave you two melanin deficient European individuals, and then they gave you Denzel, which was authentic, but they made Denzel look like a villain amongst the villains.
There you go.
Wow.
But the fact of the matter is the twin emperors should have been portrayed by black men, modern
Real
black
talk.
men for the language.
Real talk. And see, huge
like
points,
Denzel.
brother, because when you've got these people nowadays because that's the attack now on the Moorish movement is y'all black people aren't Moors and you never were Moors. That's the attack right now.
That's
I sent the video that I want you to play, but I'm gonna digress.
Okay, no doubt. But meanwhile, as you pointed out, and we could go to hundreds of examples, right? Beethoven. We can go to, if they saw Beethoven walking down the street right now in regular clothes, they would call him mixed breed. They'd call him a red bone. That's what they call him a coolie. That's what they would call him. You know what I'm saying? That's what they would call him by today's standards. You see? By today's standards, he would be called black, quote unquote.
Right.
Let's just be real. You see what I'm saying? And that's what, so there was another point that I was going to bring up regarding, that's what it was. Here we go. The whole thing about African transatlantic slave trade beginning as war, and then the psychology behind it, the dehumanization psychology that went with it, wartime conceits. So the example I give my members, I say, okay, let's take the Vietnam War. What did the Allies call the North Vietnamese, the Viet Cong? Gooks and zipperheads. Fast forward to today, second generation, third generation American citizen of Vietnamese descent goes to fill out a job application. And it says check this box, gook or zipperhead. In other words, you got wartime conceits massaged and socialized into the social fabric. That's what we have today.
Man, that's so powerful because it speaks to the depth of the psychological warfare and its primacy above all other types of warfare. There isn't any amount of violence. There isn't any level of physical violence that could outdo the level of harm of psychological warfare.
Brother, you 100%, 100%. There's the whole wiping out of a whole nation. Sure, you could physically wipe out a whole nation. Worse than that is wiping that nation's memory.
So to that point, there's a case law. I can't recall it. Maybe you know it, Ilamil, off your top of your mind, but where they said denationalization is worse than torture because it robs an individual of his centuries of history in development and the making.
Ain't that something, bro?
Yeah, I remember that citation. I can't think of the case name. We're gonna have to dig that back
Y'all
up.
gonna get me back in the shepherdizing.
Yeah,
They go
we
hand in
had
hand,
all this
history and
stuff
the
on the
research, you know?
MLF. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I sent you a second ABA reference, ABA article that also touched on the Moors, and also a short AI video that we got up.
Okay, so let me do this, right? No, I only got the one ABA article. I only got one of them. So
Go ahead.
let's go through some of these quotes and some of these things I want to show. And then we'll jump right back onto it. So let me show this piece that you brought up, Brother Sharif, earlier, because we never got to show it.
Yes, sir.
This, let me go to it. This right here, it's called The Iberian Roots of American Racist Thought.
Yep, there you go.
By James H. Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. The question why African slavery emerged as the primary form of exploited labor in the Americas during the 16th and 17th centuries has engaged the attention of scholars for years. Although a consensus seems to have emerged that growth of capitalism played a major role in the establishment and survival of African slavery in the Americas, heated debate continues over the extent to which racism played a part in this development. The issue of which came first, racism or slavery, is central to this debate. Some historians accept Eric Williams' assertion that slavery was not born of racism. Rather, racism was the consequence of slavery. Though the origins debate may at first glance seem artificial or analytically unimportant, it can reveal fundamental truths about the trajectory of racist ideology in Western culture. Locating the crystallization of racist ideology in Europe before 1492 shifts the focus of the origins debate from American economic explanations to European cultural ones. The search, man, this is heavy. I'm just trying to hold my mind by continuing to read it. The search for the roots of a racial ideology might begin in ancient times. This article explores only the immediate foundations of racism in modern Western thought. Many historians of colonial Latin America insist that racism was not present in Iberia before 1492. They argue instead that racial stratification was a product of American economic conditions. This article contends, and I'll stop at this last paragraph, this article contends that racism and capitalism were not inextricably bound together, and that racism that came to characterize American slavery was well established in cultural and religious attitudes in Spain and Portugal by the 15th century.
That's the century where we can trace Blackamoor back to.
That's right.
Okay, let me just finish it off. Let me finish it off real quick. Such attitudes were reinforced by European political turbulence and the decline of the Mediterranean slave trade. The racist beliefs that Iberians and others would later refine to a science were firmly entrenched before Christopher Columbus made landfall in the Americas. This racial idiom became more rigid as capitalist imperatives gained strength. While these views do not entirely contradict Williams' thesis, they move away from the mechanistic economic explanations and attempt to show the evolution of racist thinking from feudalism to capitalism, from Europe to the Americas. Wow.
Come on now. There you go.
Wow.
There you go. There you go. See, it's again, these things aren't talked about because it maintains the cutoff of us and the rest of the human family.
Right.
It keeps it in place. It keeps the permanent or perpetual othering of our people in place.
Right. The perpetual othering.
Perpetual
Right.
othering.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Perfect
saying? To the
phrase.
point where we begin to participate in it.
Yeah, yeah. They got us in it too. We
Yeah, man.
they got us in it too.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
It's bad. It's bad to where people are hardwired into thinking that those people can be nothing other than black. They are not and never were part of the human family. They don't have a history outside of up from slavery.
Right. And this is
and the moment you start and the moment you start talking about pre-colonial, they start calling you a culture vulture.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You stealing somebody else's culture.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is after, like it says in this article, this is after this is after them taking black and redefining it to mean something negative.
You got it.
Because we gotta look into a couple of things, because in our tradition, and we know for Moors, especially at the certain period, Islam is that law, is that system that we adhere to. And in that tradition, the Quran says that Allah made Adam, and in Arabic, Adam comes from Udma, it means black. And he made Adam from black clay.
Yes.
Right. So we know exactly. So we know for a fact that this isn't intrinsically negative. But that in that 15th century that we just exposed, that it became negative in the views of Iberian culture and religious and cultural attitudes when they started to define black as the devil.
Right.
Or these different things.
All for purposes of subjugation. That's why it became negative.
Which is what the brother Sharif was bringing up earlier about when they start to dehumanize you.
There you go.
Right.
You see?
Which goes back to what you just said when they started portraying the devil as a black man.
How about
whereas prior to that, it had other images. I think.
Or how I believe Dr. Jose Pimienta Debate brought this up in his book, Othello's Children, how there was a census, and I forget what state, right? Where there was a brother, right? Who was counted as Negro. But then within the next 10 years acquired a bunch of property and upped his financial status, his acumen. He was reclassified as white.
Capitalism.
What do we have now? The status stuck to the face. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas
absolutely.
they were much more fluid not that long ago.
Absolutely. 1000%. The power, I got to read this whole article. This is a gem that you posited and delivered to us on this show. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward you for such a source like this, because this is something I've been talking about on my other podcast, the Tomorrow Podcast. And it says from feudalism to capitalism. People don't realize. And it said from feudalism to capitalism, from Europe to America. See, they don't realize that capitalism is feudalism. And if you're in the proper circles, they will say what we're emerging to now is techno-feudalism.
Techno-feudalism.
Yeah.
Come on. That's right.
So I don't even want to go there right now. I just want to point that out. And I also just want to point out that they said it evolved. Capitalism evolved with racism. So that means the economic system that they have us doing commerce in that capacity, with that mind frame of capitalism, is never was something that's supposed to work for us. In fact, Nixon, I'm going to try to pull that up. Nixon was the one who introduced the concept of the black capitalists to move away from black revolution. And you understand what I'm saying? So that that the belief that you can wealth your way, you can rich your way out of this national identity issue.
That's right.
See? Yeah. As long as you can get enough money, and they just show you every day from all of the people who are in the system that get all that money, that they tear you down by the end of your lifespan. The New York Times did an article that said for black boys, for black men, right? That if they are born rich, the system has a way of stripping them of that wealth by the time they're older.
Isn't that something, brother? Isn't that something? I just sent you some slides on your Facebook inbox. The last slide, it's like a black slide with a picture on it. Could you pull that up?
All right, will do. Give me 1 second. I'm about to pull it up right now.
What you just said dovetails into this perfectly, right?
Okay.
Just like what happened to our forefathers and mothers 500 years ago, how our own internal softness and division caused us to crumble from within and allow the Reconquista to gain ground, right? Bro, it's happening in reverse. We're watching it happen in reverse right now. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm about to show you on this slide is hard evidence to that fact.
Got you.
Hard evidence to that
I'm pulling
fact.
it up right now. And Element, when you get a chance to send that other ABA article.
Yeah, check the Facebook inbox.
Okay. All right, so here we go. You
Yes,
want to read that, my brother? So that
sure,
way.
I'll do. Oh no, not this one. Not this one.
Not
it's a
this
black one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a black slide.
Okay, 1 second. Let me.
That's a dope one too, though. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it right here. I got it right here.
Okay, cool.
Pull it up. Please read it too, so that way when we clip it up, you know, we can have you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Got you. For sure.
I can clip it with you
So
on
this slide this is from a presentation I put together years ago for Educators for Excellence. They had asked me, you know, the professional educators, they asked me to do a presentation on racism from our perspective. I said, okay. So it was from a presentation called American Racism Decoded. This was the last slide. And so it's talking about American racism's unsustainability.
Okay.
Went down.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it back up so that it takes on a better.
So America at present, American racism, it's unsustainable. It is absolutely unsustainable. No one can argue today that the number one social issue in America is American racism. No one can argue it, right?
That's right. There we go.
All right. So what do we have that contribute to the unsustainability? Can you all see it? I can't see it.
You can't see it?
Okay, you guys can see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Just read it from your screen.
Yeah.
The people can see it. It's up there nice and
So major contributing factors. One, changing population demographics. We already know what that is. The browning of America. We know what that is, right? New emerging identity guidelines. So even those that we in the Moorish movement would call unconscious Asiatics are starting to recognize that, hey, you know what? Our problem might be a little bit more than just up from slavery. You know, and it may have to do with identity. There you go. Even if it is just to chase a check, a reparations check, right? So you got new emerging identity guidelines, right? Gender and racial nonconformity. You know, you've got BIPOC, ADOS, FB, all that. But here's the big one. Economic crises bred from racial inequalities. Financially failing urban centers from redlining. Hey, there you go. Concentrated poverty, GDP adversely affected by racial wealth gap. That's the big one I want to touch on. The GDP adversely affected by the racial wealth gap. So denying us access to capital, right? And denying us, again, access to wealth, generational wealth.
Absolutely.
America shot itself in the foot. So McKinsey and Company estimated in a recent report that they did that by closing the racial wealth gap created by systemic racism, the U.S. GDP could be 4 to 6% higher by 2028.
Wow.
In nominal dollars, consumption and investment will cost the U.S. economy between 1 to 1.5 trillion between 2019 and 2028. That is roughly $2,900 to $4,300 in GDP per capita. Wow. Effectively, racism is costing, quote unquote, white Americans $2,900 to $4,300 for every man, woman, and child per year.
Wow.
By missing out on that 4 to 6% growth, so-called white people are robbing themselves of a lot of money, job opportunities, promotion, and even a higher standard of living than they have today.
And healthcare.
Yes.
And healthcare. Because one of the reasons we don't have free healthcare is because they don't want the quote
They don't
unquote
want us to have it.
blacks to have
Right,
it.
brother.
Because they want us to
That's right.
get sick and check out, you know?
There you go. There you go. And we still have a browning of America in spite of all the stuff aimed at our
And
Absolutely.
it's affecting them because this is why you got situations like what's his name? Luigi Maggioni, the guy that killed the healthcare, health insurance guy.
Yes.
Right.
You know, they doing stuff like that because these guys don't want to do right.
They don't want to do right. So what this study from McKinsey and Company shows that if the European was just in dealing with us, just with the racial wealth gap, they would have a better standard of living and make more money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It'll never happen though.
Right.
That's how sick they are though. They rather suffer just to see us suffer more. But you know, one of the problems I think is too is the false narratives, man. They have been sold a story that we're the problem.
Brother, it goes back to what you said about Bacon's rebellion.
Yes.
It was the rich Europeans that convinced the poor Europeans.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? No, rock with us.
Right.
At least you ain't one of those N-words.
Right. But I'm saying as far as going all the way back to Iberia, the narrative they got about the Moorish invasion, right?
Yes.
It wasn't an invasion. It was an enlightenment.
They were invited in. We were invited. You know that.
A civilizing.
Actual fact.
Actual
fact, bro.
You know?
That's the truth.
Because when you look into it, the Muwallits, and the Sakalibas, I think I'm saying that right.
Yes.
The reason there was a lot of Sakalibas in Iberia is because the Europeans were selling each other into slavery.
That's right.
But guys like Bannon have a perception that we were enslaving them. You know, hence the Moors were just enslaving them and terrorizing them. But in fact, you guys were selling yourselves to Jews, and Jews were selling you to Muslims. You know what I mean? That's how it went. But they don't have that narrative. They had the narrative that the big boogie black man came and did all this to them when they were doing it to each other. Even as far as the eunuch practices, they were making each other eunuchs.
Yes, sir.
You know, and we get the blame for that. And then it also get flipped, and they'll say that Moor in that portrait, Bob, that's a slave that was a eunuch. You know, they want to flip the narrative on us of the truth of the matter.
But isn't the irony in that statement that you just made? Isn't the irony in the two things? First of all, I love how we refer to them as Europeans, the same way they keep referring to us as Africans, even though we know Africa wasn't established as the name of that continent officially until the Berlin Conference.
And we know the original Europeans look like you and I. Shout out to David McCritchie.
Exactly. 100%. So I love how we do that. But secondly, that's the same thing they say. We just bought you guys. You guys were selling each other to us.
Right. Ain't that something?
The irony in that. The
irony.
Yeah. The first shall be last, the last shall be first.
Yeah.
You know?
Shall be first.
That's the irony.
But now,
I also want to add this piece too. You know that the credit scores was created in the East to limit quote unquote black folks from being able to access credit. Before that, there was no credit score. You didn't need credit.
Right.
It literally was created in the 80s to stop our people.
They came up with a lot of policies because there was no, if you wanted to be a lawyer, there was no bar until blacks started going to be lawyers. There was no bar test and thing to take. They created these bar associations and all that so that they could create so-called legitimate bases of discrimination.
And one, I'm gonna say this, and you got the floor, Sharif. One of the things I want to add to what you said in that McKinsey report as well is when you look at the economic disenfranchisement of us here, you can systemically trace them through in the Reconquista as well. They had the same practices to strip the Moors of their wealth. The same exact practices. So I digress. You got the floor.
Yo, actual fact, brother. And now, something that Amin Sur said about the whole enslavement thing. See, that's the other part too. It's like they got to do multiple twists to the narrative. So it's like, okay, yeah, you bad blackamoors enslaved us and enslaved our women by the thousands and blah, blah. But they can't say that publicly.
Right.
They can't say that publicly.
Right.
They keep that to themselves as the few. Now, you know who did say it? J.B. Stoner, the former Grand Dragon to the KKK, in his letter to Elijah Muhammad. He said it flat out. He said, yeah, Islam is an N-word religion.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. You're right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. He sure did.
And I like sources like that because they keep it real.
They keep it a buck. They keep it a bean, real. Right?
Yeah.
You know, but the majority of them cannot say that publicly because what does it readily admit? It readily admits that they were under our thumb for 800 years. They can't admit that.
Right.
See? Yeah, they can't admit that, bro. That's that's what I was going to bring up too. Earlier, you all were talking about how the modern Pale-European co-opted ancient Greek culture.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They co-opted it. If it wasn't for, well, there's a number of Moorish scholars, but two in particular come to mind. If it wasn't, I'll give the actual names and then their Europeanized names. If it wasn't for Ibn Rushd and Ibn Sina. Ibn Rushd is Averroes in anglicized, and Ibn Sina is Avicenna. These two men were hugely instrumental in reviving ancient Greek culture and science and history and bringing it to the West. It was because of them. That's why they have anglicized names so that the Pale-Europeans can give them honor without saying who they were. See? That's the fact. This is where we get Neoplatonism in the West.
Absolutely.
This is where we get it from, is from these two men.
You know, the interesting thing about that, and I often bring this up, is that we don't have the works of Plato by itself historically. They only exist in the critiques of the Moors who critiqued who critiqued these philosophies, because that's who preserved it. They don't exist on their own, so they extracted it and made it seem like these are the works exist. But these works existed in the context of it surviving the burning of Rome and Greece and all of those things through the Moors critiquing them. Here's the thing. Neoplatonism comes from Platonism.
Yes, it does.
But transhumanism and transgenderism comes out of transhumanism, and transhumanism comes out of Neoplatonism.
It sure does.
So imagine if we had these Moorish critiques to these philosophies, which we see they are coming out with all of this stuff with Elon Musk want to put chips in your brain and merging cyborg with humans and all that type of stuff. That's all coming out of Neoplatonism. That's transhumanism.
Yes, all of it. That's right.
So again, we go from that feudalism, capitalism, to now techno-feudalism that they want to talk about now. And you see this is all centered around the Moorish paradigm of the critiques that the Moors gave these initial philosophies.
That's a fact, brother. That's a fact. That's a fact. Again, this see, yo, we're supposed to be talking about current stuff. Man, listen, we might have to do a part 3 and do that, because there's so much of the history that leads up to these things. You know what I'm saying?
To our
There's
credit,
so
we're
much
doing
of
it. To our credit,
we're
we're
doing
tying it, but we're gonna need a part 3 to finish the anthology.
Yeah,
You know, this is the middle portion.
There you go.
The knowledge is infinite.
Yeah.
It really is, bro. It really is. It really is. It
Quick,
really is.
real Ilamir, you
check
the only
your
link
Facebook.
that I have, the only link that's coming up is that history of law and rules of war for the ABA. But I got one more thing I want to share with the people to the point that's connected to the initial quote that you shared with us, the initial source you shared with us about Iberian roots of racism. I want to share this, and we brought it up on the last show, but I just want to bring this to the forefront so that people can see.
You just looked at it.
Okay, that's okay. I'll bring that up. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good book right there.
But this is significant because this sets the context for what we're expounding on. This book, and anyone can Google it and pull it up. It says The Discovery of America, an outgrowth of the conquest of the Moors by the Spaniards.
That's a fact.
What people have to realize and accept and understand is that when we talk about what America is and what it has become, the foundations of it is based on the conquering of the Moors in Spain or in Andalus by the Spaniards. This is the foundation of the New World.
And starting with Portugal.
Break that down for us. Break that down for us.
The Portuguese defeated the Moors in their part of Iberia in the 12/13. As Sharif mentioned in the last episode, the Spain was formed from the marriage union between Castile and Aragon.
That's right.
But these things happened in Portugal first.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So by the 1300s, the Moors are subjugated in that part of Iberia. Now the Portuguese are coming into their own, which is
that would make the Portugal the first nation state. You're saying it formed before Spain.
Yes. In fact, there's a Portuguese scholar that has a video on YouTube called Portugal, the First Nation State. I forgot the guy that was interviewing him, but it's something, he got some special credentials or qualifications as to the guy that's interviewing the Portuguese historian. But yeah, you can find that on it's called How Portugal Became Europe's First Nation State. That's the title of the video.
Nah, that's accurate. That's accurate. That's right. That's right.
Okay, so this was that.
That's the ABA article. That's where it's archived at. I couldn't find it directly.
Okay.
On
the
ABA.
So what part you want me to read?
Because I can see
article. So I see this article. I see this piece right here because it mentions the Moors, and I'll just read this part real quick. It says, "See no evil, hear no evil. The initial illegality of slavery in the English colonies does not imply an unfamiliarity with the institution. When Jamestown was founded in 1607, New Spain had been a thriving enterprise in the Caribbean for about 100 years. And slavery, that's wild. And slavery was part of New Spain from its beginning. Unlike England, Spain had a tradition of slavery dating back to the Moors, when Muslim and Christians in turn enslave one another. A body of jurisprudence, therefore, and it cuts off there because it's just
Spanish jurisprudence. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another ABA article that talks about the Moors. So this just goes back to what we was talking about earlier. Like they talk about it in their circles.
Right.
It's amongst, they don't want to talk about it amongst us because we're not supposed to know.
Right. because of the implications of what it would mean is that because we all know what happens, brother, when you take somebody who just a Negro who don't know nothing and you start teaching them some Moorish science and some Moorish information. The next day, he's claiming he's the Khalifa, the Sultan of New Americas.
He's notoriously reincarnated.
Become one of them one of them uppity Negroes. He turned into one of them uppity Negroes now.
You can see right. You go from thinking like a pure Negro to being king of the world. So I get why it's like. Like I had a brother on TikTok, right? After the New Spain thing, right? I had a brother on TikTok. I don't know who he is. He sent me some long message telling me to cease and desist, that he is the new Sultan of the Moorish.
Yeah, I saw that. That shit had me rolling.
So my point is,
know who he talking to.
Yeah,
don't even know who he talking to. But don't care either.
He don't care. So I get it. I get why it's like, yo, remember we was talking on last year, you gotta bring knowledge in degrees, right? Or you go crazy. So this is what happens. This is why they don't want to talk about it. Because the next day, every brothers and sisters, the queen and king of the world next, you know?
I'm telling you.
Man. The nobility.
Yeah, I get it. You know what I mean?
Also, in that same inbox, I sent the AI clip. It's not that long. It's just, just to put some fundamentals to bed in terms of grammar.
And also, Brother Sharif, you sent me those 2 other slides. Do you want to get to those too?
One slide was on the one with the book. That's Ray Irwin's book. The book is called pull that one up for the audience.
Okay, I'm gonna get through these videos and then we'll pull that source up.
Okay, perfect.
Is this the one you were talking about, El?
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Now let me make sure. Let me make sure.
Yes.
Let me make sure it's the audio is turned on properly for this joint. Okay. All right. So let me know if y'all can hear it. Can you hear it?
Or early 1900s.
Yes.
Perfect.
EC2. Morris lithographer textbook section people. The same country Charles Hal Onions for best.
I'm just gonna pause right there. I'm gonna keep playing it, but it's almost like overload. It's definition after definition after definition. What how they looked, what dictionaries you can find it in.
Exactly.
Man, that was a little overload. I had to pause real quick. I'm about to start it again. Whoa.
Yeah,
there should be no discussion about, because real quick, what they try to say today is they confine the meaning and definition of more to North African Berbers and Arabs who conquered Spain.
Right.
Which you have to trace the origin of all 3 of those identities to get to the root of how those people look to identify the fact that they were us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So and in these older definitions and dictionaries, at time periods where they didn't allow us to read, mind you, they were defining it as such. So
some Berber ancestry. In a more Morocco Arabic to any black person, particularly Muslims. As early as Moore. In 1550, Will Shakespeare describe. Have you ever looked through a dictionary from the 1700s?
Simple. Wow. That's just like a collection of definitions that should put the rest any opposition to who the term more applies to. But one thing that I found as a common thread is, and again, this is during the period they didn't allow us to read.
Right.
But it was more by itself, then black more, and then eventually more got dropped and it's just black. You see, and that was done on purpose.
Yes.
That was done on purpose, because in language, more you're going to find that in treaties. You're going to find that in histories. You're going to find that where it's attached to nations, identities, and people with rights.
You got it. And in a simple sense, if you could tie yourself to the families of nations, somebody's coming for you.
Right. Right.
100%. Somebody's going to speak for you.
Right.
Without that, nobody speaks for you.
Right. And again, we have history of that with Ibrahim, the Prince Among Slaves, Ibn Sori.
Yes.
He wasn't even from Morocco or from the Sultan of Morocco's dominions. He was from Timbo, which is close to Timbuktu.
But Timbo, at the time, Timbo and Timbuktu were within the dominions.
That's true. That's very
true. By way of the Battle of Tondibi in 1591, when Morocco said, you know what, we need them silver mines.
Oh, buddy, y'all went there. Right, and this is the benefit of being up here with scholars. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Think back to Voltaire. If you got a second, you should let that Voltaire clip play. That's probably like a minute or two. Not even.
Yes, sir.
Let me know if this is the one.
It's a short on the YouTube.
It's a short on. You sent me a YouTube link?
No. On MH.
Is it this one?
No. That's on Isabella Ferdinand and the Sultan.
Okay, let me go to our YouTube channel, and then we're gonna get to your sources, brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
All right, 1 second. Let's go there.
But we do want to play that one. We don't want to play right now, but we want to play that one before we close out, though.
All right, no problem. All right, so it's a short, you said, right?
Yeah. You should see Voltaire on there in the shorts.
Okay, I got it. Hold on, I just had it. 1 second. Okay. All right, here we go. And that's another thing we're doing is to bring this information to life, you know, using the technology and the tools we have available, because this is an authentic image of Voltaire, and we're taking his quotes and doing stuff with it. So let me play it. You can hear it? Y'all can hear it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Voltaire. This is Moorish.
Shout out to Voltaire.
Voltaire got a lot of quotes too. He got a lot of interesting quotes. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing. Incredible.
Hey.
Okay, we're gonna pull this quote up that you sent me. Let me know if this is the right one. Oh man, he dropped off. Oh, there we go. He's back.
Diplomatic relations. I remember this book. I remember that book.
Okay.
We had that in we had that in the archives.
Okay.
Want to know, interested in what point he's going to highlight.
Let me get something straight real quick. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm pulling up this quote. This is the one, Brother Sharif, that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah. That was so this, you know, for the audience sake, this is a book. It was actually part of a doctor's dissertation by Ray Irwin. The name of the book is called The Diplomatic Relations of the United States and the Barbary Powers. That's what it was. So it says, by the middle of the 16th century, corsairs were raiding as far north as the Straits of Dover, snatching captives from the very shores of the British Isles. In the course of 3 centuries, it was estimated that the Algerines, along with 600,000 slaves, while as late as 1798, a Tunisian foray carried nearly 1,000 people off a small Italian island, completely depopulating it.
Wow.
The insolence of these piratical states, fostered by an almost unaccountable submission to their pretensions by the Christian nations of Europe, has been strikingly exhibited in the conduct of the Bey of Algiers towards Captain Bainbridge on his arrival there in the frigate George Washington with the annual tribute. Stop right there.
Wow.
See, this is part of his, right. This was in the late 1700s. Captain Bainbridge. Paying tribute.
That's in Brooklyn. My aunt used to live on a street named Bainbridge, and it's also a Moorish Science Temple over there, too.
It sure is.
It's still there.
No, yeah, Temple 21 on Bainbridge. Temple 21, it's still there. That's right. And but now it says, on his arrival there in the frigate George Washington with annual tribute, the Bey replied, quote, you pay me tribute by which you become my slaves, and therefore I have the right to order you as I think proper. All the tributary nations of Europe submitted, so he added, to render him like services. The first of the Barbary states is Morocco. The Berbers were the oldest inhabitants of the country, and the Moors were the descendants of those who had left Spain. This is what Ray Unwin says in this book.
Could you repeat that last part again?
Sure. The first of the Barbary states is Morocco. The Berbers were the oldest inhabitants of the country, and the Moors were the descendants of those who had left Spain.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
That's incredible. And again, there should be no discussion about who you know, like I think the thing that's amazing me right now is we're crushing all opposition.
There you go.
We're putting it out there for the community to also utilize when they need to, so that they're armed with the proper information.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. There's another slide. It's a red slide with all words on it. This just reinforces further reinforces the historical narrative that we've already nailed down flat.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yes, sir.
This one right here, correct?
That is the one. I'll read it. It says, the first quote that I'm reading comes from Professor Nazir Ahmed in his book, The Atlantic Slave Trade. It says, at first, the capture of a few slaves did not cause a stir in Lisbon, Spain, of course. There were already many Muslim slaves in Portugal and Spain, just as there were Christian slaves in North Africa, captured in the frequent wars between the Christians and the Muslims. The slaves on both sides were kept as domestic servants, subject to the norms of their respective cultures. But as the benefits of owning slaves became obvious to the richer merchants of Lisbon, and with the trade sanctified by the Pope, investment in slave ventures increased. By 1443, an expedition was financed and organized explicitly to capture more Muslims. The Maghreb was in an advanced state of political disintegration, and the presence of those predatory ships was hardly noticed in the palaces of the emirs, busy plotting against each other. By 1465, Portugal was transporting more than 1,000 slaves a year from southern Morocco, Mauritania, and Senegambia.
Wow.
Now, the next quote comes from a book called The Moors of West Africa and the Beginnings of the Portuguese Slave Trade by Kenneth Baxter Wolfe and Pomona College.
Hold on. Before you read that quote.
Sure.
I gotta let the people understand how important this quote you're about to read, and the importance of being well researched and knowing what books you're getting things from.
Yes.
This book is called The Moors of West Africa.
Yeah, we got citations.
Yes, sir.
Citations on the gram.
Yes, sir.
From this book?
Absolutely.
All right. See, but here's
precisely.
Here's the importance, because they always try to say the Moors are North African.
Right.
They're not West
brother.
African. And that's the caveat. That's the significance of what's about to be read here.
There you go.
Hey, yo, Elamir, you gotta pardon me too, man. Sometimes I gotta make gigabyte space. So you know you gotta
You gotta clean the cache.
Yeah, I gotta clean the cache. Sometimes I'll be forgetting stuff that's known, you know what I mean? And then when I reintroduce to it, it's phenomenal, because it's like I'm learning all over again. So
all over again.
That.
Yes, sir.
But yes, please read. Please
Matter
continue.
of fact, because let me digress.
You sure? Go ahead, bro.
Now I was just going to say that one of the citations we got is where it talks about Beauville called Guinea the land of the Black Moors.
Boabdil or Beauville?
Beauville, Bovile or LLE. Yeah, and that's that. I believe that's coming from this book.
Wow.
Got you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read. It says, regarding the Vatican-endorsed and sanctioned capture and enslavement of Moors as a continued assault following the expulsion from Spain. Quote, but in more practical terms, this crude categorization created a context for Portuguese aggression toward the West Africans. For the category Moor in the mind of Zorara, and we assume in the minds of Alfonso and the Portuguese sea captains as well, carried with it a very specific blueprint for action. Insofar as these peoples were regarded as Moors in some general sense, they found themselves being treated as Moors in a very specific sense, as an enemy to be fought, captured, and sold into slavery. Even when Zorara finally enunciates the concept of natural slavery, he does so as a subcategory of the enslavement of Moorish prisoners of war.
Wow.
See?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. This statement, while trying to still give grace to the modern narrative of, well, we enslaved black people, we enslaved that, right? In the general sense, it's acknowledging that the people of that day saw those people as Moors, flat out.
It goes back to what you said. Like if they said we enslaved some gooks and zipper heads?
Yeah, zipper heads, exactly.
You see?
Yes.
It's the same way as saying we enslaved black people.
That's
Instead of saying we enslaved Vietnam or we went to war with the Vietnamese, they're going to say we went to war with the gooks and the zipper heads.
We went to war with the gooks and the zipper heads. There you go. So that's how it's written in the history books now.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not Vietnamese, gooks and zipper heads.
Yeah, and no disrespect to our Vietnamese. We just use it in context and relations to what we have as far as the way they use the words against it. Yeah, as an analogy to the stripping of us.
But now I want to take that analogy just a small step forward, right? Those same people that would be second, third generation American citizens of Vietnamese descent, right? But they're called in the normal American social fabric gooks and zipperheads. They'd be like, but no. We're descendants of Vietnamese and born in America. They're like, no, we know about Vietnamese. That ain't you, you gooks. This is what's happening right now.
That's a phenomenal point.
That's what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. And it's very important that you framed it. Again, we talk about framing and narrative.
Yes.
When you frame it that way, it allows people, it can land where it needs to land, because remember, as Moors, we're psychoanalyzing it from outside of their box. You know, so we can see clearer.
We're used to being othered to where now we take it as a badge of honor to be othered from the rest of the human family.
Absolutely. So we can see clearer. And that's part of the larger arc. And we probably get into this on the third part. Yes. This part of the larger arc of the alchemical process that we have gone through on a spiritual level, to whereas this going through this process, has given us some advantages on the battlefield that others don't have.
Brother, it's so crazy that you say that. I'm telling you, I was telling my members this just last week. I was like, wow, what you just said is so powerful. First of all, you mentioned alchemy. So as you all know, you know this, but the audience may not know. The very first stage of alchemy is to break down the old form. It's called dissolution. It's just like when you're working out. Okay, I want the beach body, but I don't
Let me add on top of that. Let me add on top of that before you finish.
Go ahead. Do you think?
Because when you even look up in Black's Law Dictionary and you look up dissolution, it says the process of going into a solution.
There you go, brother. It sure does. So you have to. Okay, I want the beach body, but I got the dad body. So all I got to work with is the dad body. What do I have to do? Break down and dissolve the dad body so that I can now extract the essence and then reform that into the beach body. This is alchemy. That first stage of dissolution in medieval alchemical texts is called negredo, blackness. That's the term.
No way.
No, word is born. Google it right now. Nigredo.
Hold on. Say that again.
Negredo.
N-I-G-R-E-D-O.
Hold on. Y'all talking to the same. Spell it again. N-I?
N-I-G.
No way.
Yeah,
no way. I'm pulling it up. No way.
Do you realize that we, the people, there you go.
Negrido, Latin for blackness, is the first stage in the alchemical process of transmutation, symbolizing decomposition, putrefaction, and confronting one's inner darkness or shadow. It represents a necessary breakdown of old forms leading to chaos, depression, and intense psychological struggle. The dark night of the soul, before transformation can occur, ultimately paving the way for whitening and reddening in the journey toward the philosopher's stone or individuation. Whoa.
You see that? Yep, albedo was the next step, where you extract the essence out of the old broken down form.
When you broke that down, that made me think about fasting.
Yes.
Because there's a process in fasting after a certain amount of hours called autophagy.
Where you start, the die-off happens, right?
Right. Cellular repair.
That's right, brother.
The body starts to break down old proteins and toxins lying around the body to create new generation.
That's right.
So yeah, when you said that, I was like,
That's a fact, brother. So think about it from a social perspective. Prophet Noble Drew Ali began the alchemical process on the entirety of humanity, but began with us. So from the world perspective, in terms of spiritual advancement, we are leading the world. Then they only go after the guy with the ball.
This is black matter, head cracked.
There's very few times that I'm speechless. This is one of them. Only because the way we built on that.
Yes.
The way we built on that is I hope this translates to the audience, because when I talked about the alchemical process, I was speaking of from a spiritual nature.
Yes.
But I literally had no clue Negrito was literally
so when we say black according to science
means death. And listen, now we know alchemy really comes from alchem, and chem is chem and chemet,
which
land
means
of the blacks,
and life from darkness.
Right.
Yes.
Which goes back to more in its Phoenician and Hebrew root, Mahor and Mahorum, implying the sun setting, the darkness, dawn.
Right.
The blackness of the sky.
It's almost like on the spiritual, and again, we could probably save this for the third joint, because this is about to go too far on a certain level.
But what does it say in Genesis? In the beginning, there was
darkness.
That's right. Darkness was on the face of the deep.
Formless and void. Yeah, darkness was on the face of the deep. Yeah.
That's right.
Darkness.
And so what we say, see, I'm going to be a little critical. I'm going to be a little critical about members of the Moorish Science Symbol of America. Here we go. Black coincidence means death. And we say, can a man be Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian? No. Why? Because man is made in the image and likeness of God, Allah. In other words, what ends up happening, what we end up doing is we take things too far. Just our people, we're colorful, and so we end up demonizing the word instead of just properly contextualizing.
Contextual, exactly.
There you go.
Right.
So on one end, we say black coincidence means death, but then Noble Drew Ali also taught that death is no enemy to man, but is a friend. He also taught that there's a holy ministry in death. So if we equate death with blackness, okay. You see what I'm saying? There's a holy ministry in blackness.
Yeah, because spiritually on an esoteric level.
Yes.
We're in the underworld.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
When the crazy thing is, when I was in I went to Cairo earlier this year in March, and I saw, it wasn't the new museum they have, but it's the old one they have that they that they've been had, but they have the entire journey of the process of dying, going through the underworld, having your heart weighed as a feather, and so on and so forth. And it's almost identical to the way Islam, through the various authentic hadiths, describe this process as well.
Yes.
And so again, when we talk about where we're at as a people, we're literally undergoing
the process, bro,
of purification and transfer autophagy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Autophagy.
Cellular
That's
repair.
my point.
And we're talking about, we're talking about real disillusion. I don't care. I said broken down to this very last compound.
Yeah.
But we lost our identity. Well, how far lower can you go?
You can't go. You can't go lower than that. But in losing the identity, we have gained mastery of understanding who we are on a level that we could never lose it again.
Go back to what you quoted out of Surah 49, Ayat 13. Surely we have made you, O man, from a single male and female in the nations and tribes. Bro, we even lost that and we're still here. Think about it.
Right. You see? So this is that no other group of, even when we tie it to today, right?
Yes.
When we tie it to today, we can see through the social discourse that our Hispanic and Latino brothers and sisters, our immigrant brothers and sisters from Africa and the Caribbean and Asia, all of them are saying, where's the Black community at? How come they're not supporting us? Right?
Come on.
And wait a minute,
know how to deal with this.
They're saying this after doing the me no black.
Right. But the importance of it is that no one knows how to deal with today but us.
Brother, what are all people saying collectively? Yeah, we sitting this one out. This ain't our fight.
Right. Now we're going to, at some point, we know we're going to come in and save the day. We know this.
Yo, bro, real talk.
But we know that there has to be some straightening going on so that people have to see that the alchemical process of Negrito, autophagy, the things we went through, has placed us in a way where now the world is ready for our leadership.
Bro, that, in my opinion, is what Noble Drew Ali meant when the Prophet Drew Ali said this. He said, we as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion. Therefore, we are giving the church and Christianity back to the European nation. You see what I'm saying? And we are returning to Islam.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So why clean and pure? Because of what we suffered.
That's right. But again, autophagy. Right? That suffering, that breaking down those toxins, purifying the body. Negrito, purifying the body. This is what I'm saying, man. This is.
Ain't it crazy? We say this. We say, in the questionnaire, we say, how old is our flag? It's over 10,000 years old. Okay, nations rise and fall, right? But have you ever heard of a nation being resurrected? A whole nation being resurrected, bro.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is we're it's almost like
the phoenix.
The phoenix. You know what I'm saying? And so this is why it's important for us. And again, this is even when you look at when it was now, there was some, I don't know when it happened, but there was some cross-pollination where a lot of Moors started picking up this sovereign citizen ideology stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And we know Moors aren't sovereign citizens. That's not what we rock with.
Right.
However, the brothers and sisters who are upon that have shown their vigor and their courage, even in their wrongness. Right?
I was one of them.
Me too.
Yo, I know we all
we all
do that thing.
and we came from it at a time when you really had to be outside with it.
You had to be outside.
All the way
You had to be
outside. All the way. All the way.
So,
Facts.
So the point that I'm making is when we look at when they dropped the BIE, the Black Identity Extremists.
Yes.
Can you pull that up?
Which was never supposed to. Send me the link. I'll pull it up. If you send it to me, I'll pull it up because I'm about to pull up something else. But the point I'm making about this is they were never supposed, that was a leaked memo. It was supposed to only be internal. It wasn't supposed to be something that was out there, right?
That's right.
But when you look at, they say Black Identity Extremists, when you look at the roots of what they were saying, they had the Moors at the top of the list.
At the top, bro.
At the top of the list. And why is that? Because what we mean to our people here and globally is we're like they say, in Russia, they say, they got this quote, they say the man is the head and the woman is the neck. Right? So in this context, the Moors are the head of the community. We're the stones that the builder refused. We're the capstone. You understand? Right. And people are not going to understand that we are the Fez.
We're the Fez,
right.
bro.
That's right.
You're number one. That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
And so what people don't realize is that what's taking place is we are the Moors in the Moors community, in the Moors nation. We are establishing a supremacy of understanding the day and times that we're living in, and we're the only ones with the technology who can actually manage and combat and deal with the emergence of the new reconquista that's leading into techno-feudalism. And what people don't realize is in that, what they have to realize is you can't go anywhere else. And even if you don't talk to another Moor, you still have to deal and engage with this Moorish paradigm because as you see, everything they're doing is lock and step with the Reconquista and the Inquisition. And what's happening now by them snatching people up is just modern. What they doing now? Checking your papers, checking this. Moors been on that. Moors been running outside with papers saying, nah, this is who I am, this is my people.
Ain't that crazy?
Ain't that crazy?
Yo,
that through that persecution, we're the only ones who are equipped to deal with this. I digress.
And again, wow. Even psychologically, because the majority, we already know this, there's studies already done on this, right? When civil unrest really hits here, the majority of the casualties will be suicides because they can't make the shift here. For us, we're going to be like, man, this is Tuesday afternoon, my guy.
Talk to him. Talk to him. Talk to him.
We condition for it. We condition for it. We done went from slave passes to nationality cards.
Bro,
you know, that's how long we've been here.
He said, one day your nationality card is going to change on you right in your pocket.
Wow.
In other words, we know the card ain't going to naturally change, but conditions change as the ethers change.
Right.
So, the significance of that.
And it speaks to the fact that one day, what you're doing that seems so backward now to everybody else is going to be in the right moment, at the right time, at the top level.
Brother, you said that perfectly.
This is crazy,
perfectly,
man.
Bro.
This is crazy, man.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, man.
Oh man. And then the rest of the world will agree.
Yeah.
The rest of the world would be like, you know, okay, my guy.
What did he say? Hold on. What Noble Drew Ali said again? He said, one day the wheels of commerce is going to stop.
And when it opens back up, it'll be in favor of us. Bro, I'm glad you brought that up. There's a couple slides I sent you. There's one. Yeah, it says, what is the OCGFC? Man, that was the perfect segue. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So what I want to do, I'm going to go to that, but I just want to play this one video of being in Venice, Italy, and then I'm going to go right to it. It's all yours because it's a couple of slides that you got.
Go ahead.
So I just want to show this one real quick so people can see it. All right, here we go. So this is in Venice. This is at that jewelry shop that I was telling y'all about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Got Moretti. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. No, that's amazing.
Yes. So
Yo, bro, that's powerful.
That's in Venice. You saw the paper he gave me?
Yeah.
I said black boy, said Moretti.
Moretti.
He said Moretti.
Moretti. Blackamore is English.
As soon as he said, I said black boy, he said, look, he like, yeah, you. Look, let me show you. He showed me Obama was at that shot and Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Spike Lee.
FBA's up there.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yo, but you see the fact is, number one, it's interesting that those are the only two that either took pictures that been there, because you know they called Obama the silver tongue Moor, number one.
Yes.
But
so wait a minute,
fact
wait.
is
You
that
saying wait. You saying Spike Lee was there?
Yeah, Obama and Spike Lee was there. That's why they took pictures.
You saying
of
Obama and them, they went to the store? They went to the Venice
They
spot?
went to the store.
They were at that same store.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
That's why he showed me the pictures.
I thought he just had some pictures of Black Americans. Then I wasn't thinking
they was
that.
at the store.
They came in. Oh, that say a lot. That say a lot.
They was the only ones at the store.
That say a lot.
And then
crazy.
He gave me a picture of the Moretti of Venice. And this was pretty much, I still got it somewhere, but it pretty much breaks down how it was a Moor who founded Venice. Like officially, they don't tell that part of the history. This is why he said this is the history. You heard him, right? This is the history. Because he couldn't really speak good English. So I just wanted to show that.
And this goes back. Yo, the whole world is waiting on what we're talking about right now.
100%.
This segues back to this segues home in the Moors, and the Moors really being Rome. This what it goes back to.
It goes right back to it, bro. All right, so look at this. Okay, so now we're talking present day stuff, right? When we, okay, well, let me just start like this, right? Our president, sold, he tried to sell America on this whole "Make America Great Again" thing, and he was talking, and he's talking about, in particular, bringing industry back to the country. That's a joke. It's never going to happen, and this is one of the reasons why. Industry, we begin to outsource the rich. Is capitalism. Remember, Manson, you were talking on another show about capitalism.
Yeah.
Bro. And let's just be real, right? We had capitalism via the Silk Road, but it wasn't this type of okay. I just want to make, so I'm not saying capitalism period or in the general sense. Right. I'm talking about Euro-imperialistic capitalism.
Precisely.
Now
which is really about feudalism.
It's feudalism. Right. Now that said, we created our own Frankenstein monster. When I say we, in this case, I'm talking about America, right? So our own rich oligarchies, what do they want? More money, more power. That's what we began outsourcing, right after World War II. We began outsourcing to third world countries in the global South, right? Why? Because it's cheaper and we can kind of control them, right?
Well, just real quick, just off the terminology you using,
yes,
I already know you about to smash. I know you about to kill it.
So watch. This is what happens, right? Over time, not only do those manufacturers in these third world countries in the global South get better at doing it cheaper, they get so good that we can't match them anymore at the price or the quality. And as we all know, the American workforce population is growing smaller and older. Third world or the global South countries, younger and larger. What does that spell for the oligarchs who at this particular point have grown so big, they don't care about nationhood? That's what we call them a-national. They don't care about nations. Now, okay, so the term OCGFC means the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. I'll explain that in more detail a little bit later. But right, these guys only care about emerging global markets. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but they only care about emerging global markets. So it's these guys, this is the real deep state. So I had a conversation with these Chinese, I was privy to a conversation with some European Americans and some Chinese guys. And the European Americans are telling the Chinese, saying, you guys ain't free, you communists. You're not free. Your country owns you. Your country, you can't say nothing to influence the government, no matter how much money you make, and blah, 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 blah. The Chinese guys, know what they said? They said, you're right. They said, we can make as much money because we make tons of money. But no matter how much money we make, we cannot influence the government with our money. On the other hand, you in the United States, not only does big money influence your government, it captured it. And guess what? The capturers are not democratic. They're corporate. They're corporate. They're not democratic, my guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, your country's
100%.
captured already. You see what I'm saying? So that's the real deep state. Now, of course, it includes Wall Street, BlackRock, City of London, State Street. Right. A national meaning beholden to no nation or political party. They are the orchestrators of the current global power restructuring that we are witnessing right now. And America is already, the decisions have already been made. America's already been reduced because the new world that's emerging is a world of multipolar hegemons, little miniature hegemons, not a single unipolar hegemon like the United States used to be. Right? So America's now been reduced to a regional power under the direction of what we call the OCGFC. Europe has been economically colonized. We're already seeing it now, aren't we? United States turned its back on the European Union. And the global South is shaking off Euro imperialism. Listen, there would be no Ibrahim Traore if this was not a fact.
100%. 1,000%.
Yeah, there would be no Ibrahim Traore. There'd be no Union of Sahel states. ECOWAS would not be in the trouble it's in right now. There would be no vote of no confidence for the French government if this wasn't happening. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it just wouldn't be. So it was American greed that allowed for the American economy to switch from an industrial economy to a consumer one. That's what we mean by global financialized capital, right? There's a slide I sent you called Bretton Woods. Can you see it? But there's another slide that has people, like shadows of people on it.
Okay.
Can you pull that one up?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up. Before I do,
yes,
for the audience, y'all have to understand how we just elevated into another sphere of the conversation.
Yes, sir.
Because also, you didn't go into it, but I see the power behind breakaway civilizations, suppressed technologies.
Ooh, come on, bro.
We have to do a third one. Because
we 3 in now, so
yeah. We at 221.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah, we at 221 now. You know what I'm saying? So probably let's give it a little 20 more minutes because that's how we ended the last one at like 240 something.
Yeah.
So
real quick, the power behind breakaway civilization.
No, please,
right.
please. No, that's too much.
Okay, say no more. Got it.
It's too much. That we need at least 30 minutes to go in on that alone.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But I just want the people to know that one of the visions I have, I'm going to keep this short and we're going to go to the next slide. One of the visions I have is that because of what you're explaining now creates the perfect storm for us to revive our nation.
Come on, brother.
And to do so, we have to be in a state of mind that is forward thinking, and we have to follow the winning examples. See, people like to laugh at China, but China is what's called the communist capitalist society.
Yes, it is.
And so capitalism only exists within the nation, not outside of it, so that they cannot overthrow the nation.
There you go.
And if we are to build what we are supposed to rebuild again, we cannot build it from a standpoint of allowing outside forces to dictate our political well-being and the nature of our national and divine principles.
Come on.
That have to be the guiding force for everything, not the capital.
Not the capital. It's got to be the dean.
The dean.
There we go.
It's got to be, bro.
Got
to be.
So,
that's a fact.
So I'm going to go to the next slide, but it's like...
Yes, sir. Next slide. It says major decisions of the OCGFC.
This This is incredible. Here we go.
There it is. So these are decisions that have already been made right here, people. Number one, the American empire is no longer economically or socially sustainable relative to the global economy and must be disassembled. That is why Trump is in office. Sorry.
Yes.
We said this back. I said this back in January when it wasn't as evident to people, and they were like, nah. I said, listen, he's there in office to oversee the fire sale.
Yo, stop
This is a systematic dismantling of American infrastructure. Now no one can deny it. It's right in everybody's face.
Hey, listen, I said this on my Tomorrow podcast. I said this. I said, Trump, number one, he's a bankruptcy expert. He made his billions on grabbing up companies, bankrupting them, stripping them down to the bare bones, and selling it off to private equity.
Yeah. Bro, that's
and what we don't realize
isn't it?
now is that the country has been sold off to the highest bidders to private equity. Different sectors of it.
Brother.
Privatization. And what have the Christian evangelical Republican business types have always said? Smaller government. Meaning that the bare bones of the government runs the basics of the political stuff, but everything else is run through privatization. I just wanted to add that, my brother.
He's at you, brother. You dead on. So here we go. The selection of Trump was necessary for the orchestration of the disassembly and the reduction of the U.S. to a regional power. Now watch this one. Zionist Israel must be neutralized as its purpose is no longer desirable or needed. Wow. Europe is to be reduced further as a minor player and replaced in importance by the Middle East, the UAE. Stop, man.
You got to stop. Look. MBS, Mohammed bin Salman.
Yes.
And I was just talking about this on one of my other shows that he said he wants the Gulf states in the Middle East to be what Europe used to be. They want it to be the center of tourism. All of our major media companies and media sports franchises and all these major things are being sold off to the Middle East. Now, I do business in certain parts of where I'm doing certain things, and I can tell you for a fact that capital is not coming from America for VCs. All the money for VC, they go to Saudi Arabia to get the money. They go to Qatar to get the money. They go to the UAE to get the money.
Bingo, bro. That's why Trump's tour, his first tour, that's where it was, UAE. He didn't go to Israel.
No, he didn't.
He went to the UAE and went to Saudi Arabia.
In fact, the Jews are smart.
Yes.
They're looking for other places. Like there was lines in
you see it already,
in Portugal.
You see it already, don't you?
They had lines going around the corner in Portugal, signing up for citizenship in Portugal. They're in Cyprus, Greece. They're in Thailand. They're in Mexico. So they're already setting up different places in the global south. You see what I'm saying? Yo, man, my bad. Go ahead.
No. This is real. See, brother, let me tell you. I don't know if you knew this, Brother Al-Mansur, but see, I reached out to Mansa a number of weeks back because he was on another show talking with somebody about some of these things. And I said, nah, we got to have this conversation. I said, I got to get in on this one right here. I said, because you're talking that talk right now. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
All right, let me continue real quick. The Global South now has more robust populations, economies, and resources and labor to become the new emerging global market. And what is the cornerstone of this? BRICS is now the new cornerstone of the new emerging global market.
Yes,
Plain
sir.
and simple.
Yes, sir.
BRICS is.
Yes, sir.
So there's another slide I sent you. It should say Bretton Woods.
Okay.
I want you to pull that up. You're going to like that one. Bretton Woods Agreement. That's what it says.
Okay, hold on.
We're going to like this for a number of different reasons. All three of us are going to like this for a number of different reasons. Because it explains some things that we had knowledge of in years past, but not complete knowledge.
Okay, hold on. Bretton Woods, hold on. I don't see it. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Hold on, let me see if I sent it to you. Hold on, let me make sure I sent it to you. I'm pretty sure
I don't think I got that one. I got one that starts with the beast of the apocalypse, the seven mountain mandate, new apostolic
yeah,
reformation.
those are crazy.
And then this was the end of U.S. productivity and in the beginning of financialization. I think that's a continuation of one of the other ones, but I don't have anything that specifically says Britain
I just sent it to you just now.
Okay.
You see it?
Let me refresh.
You know, that's interesting that you brought up that piece about Portugal, though, because I had seen a news broadcast talking about the economy over. This was some years ago. The Portuguese economy was doing real bad, so it makes sense why they going there and getting that citizenship.
Yes, I just sent them again, brother.
Got it.
Yep.
It's two slides. It's 2 slides. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
The one that has the yellow writing on it. Now we'll pull that one up first.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
America, at the top of the slide, it says, America, history's shortest empire. So, the Bretton Woods Agreement, we all need to know about this. We all need to know about it. The Bretton Woods Agreement was a post-World War II international agreement under which gold was the basis for the U.S. dollar and the currencies of other nations were pegged to the U.S. dollar. Thus, the U.S. dollar became the standard for international trade. At that time, the U.S. held 75% of the world's gold reserves. And at that time, we also controlled the majority of the world trade routes. And at that time, we had the most stable economy on the planet. The agreement basically told the world to trust the U.S. dollar if they want to obtain a stable economy. What did it happen? At the end of World War II, everybody else's economies was bombed to hell because they got their cities were bombed. The United States, not only did we have a great economy, but it was better coming out of the war than it was when it went in. So what did we do? We put the super gangster move. We told all the other civilized nations, you want to stabilize your economy, make the U.S. dollar your standard currency. That's how we're able to put nearly 800 military bases in everybody's borders. That's how we're able to sanction people back to the Stone Age. That's how, through the International Monetary Fund, we control who they give loans to and the conditions. And usually that condition is we protect our interests by putting a military base in your borders. That's how it's done, bro. This is how we did it. But now here's the crazy part. The crazy part is when Nixon went off the gold and silver standard, this whole thing should have collapsed. You know why it didn't? Because we leaned on the petrodollar. In other words, we did the same gangster to Saudi Arabia. How did we gangster Saudi Arabia? This is how, bro. Through the Balfour Declaration, which created the Zionist state of Israel. The whole purpose of the state of Israel, the purpose is to effect perpetual instability in that area so the Muslim countries don't unify. This is why we're looking at the careful dismantling of Zionist Israel right now, because the rules that the Bretton Woods Agreement established for internationalism no longer exist. There's no more need for the state of Israel.
Yo, nah, what's so fascinating about what you're saying is I haven't heard anyone with this perspective. This is, I can tell you, I can tell to the audience that this is some of the highest level of dialogue that you're ever probably going to hear, because no one is actually touching on, and it's something that I had been seeing, but I was like, I need to see more to see if that's what's happening. But I was telling everybody, this is not what you think this is. They're actually being decommissioned. Their job is done. They did what they were supposed to do. They're being decommissioned because the way they're being treated in the media, we've never seen this before. I've lived,
Seen it, bro.
Never seen them treated like this before.
Bro, and
where their dirt gets put on Front Street.
They're turning on them like turning on a dime. Like, whoop.
Right.
Yeah, bro.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, the fact that they got them out there with all that money, all that power.
Yes.
They got them out there speaking about not being anti-them,
Come
like
on, bro.
us.
Come on, bro.
Y'all treating them like some Negroes.
You straight like that, bro.
So I'm like, no, they're actually being decommissioned, because what a lot of people don't realize, people think that they control things. And I'm like, y'all see it all backwards. It was the U.S. who set up the UN. It was the U.S. who set up.
That's why Biden openly said what he said. He said this on the floor of Congress. Biden said, Israel, he said, we must always support Israel, no matter what, unequivocally. He said, Israel is so important and so significant that if it didn't exist, we would have to create it. He said that. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's get into the whole financialized capital thing. Like I said, Bretton Woods Agreement worked because the rest of these other nations that were just coming out of World War II, they were bombed to hell, so their economies were in shambles. The United States economy wasn't. The United States economy was the top, and that's where everybody, that's where the MAGA people want to get back to, post-World War II America. See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where they want to go back to. So, but remember, we were still on the gold and silver standard.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When that ended. So what does that mean? Very simple. I want to explain this to the audience. This is what it means, people. This is what it means. First and foremost, let's go back to the Bretton Woods Agreement. Okay. We have to, if I'm an official in another country, right? And let's talk about the petrodollar. The number one commodity on the planet, still to this day, kind of, is oil.
Absolutely.
Fossil fuels. So we all got to buy it, right? All right. So what do I have to do to buy it? Because of the petrodollar, which is, we already know 2 years ago, Saudi Arabia said, bye-bye petrodollar, right?
Yep.
But that said, let's say that this was 5 years ago. It's still in force. That means I have to first make something. Then I have to do what? Sell it. And I have to sell it to who? United States, so I can get US dollars, so I can buy oil with those US dollars from Saudi Arabia. So we did a number of things with that Bretton Woods Agreement that was super gangster. One of them is we got the rest of the world to subsidize our own debt.
Yeah. Now
but it gets worse.
What's crazy about that, real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
What's crazy about that part is Russia has claimed to expose a plot, to whereas they want to use crypto and the Bitcoin to offset the U.S. debt by using the stable coin.
Yes, bro. Bro. All of what we're seeing, even in Venezuela, what we're talking about right now is at the real root of it all.
Yeah.
We're talking. So watch this. We go off the gold standard. See, this is going to be interesting because it's interesting to me still, and I know it, right? Watch this. We go off the gold standard. That should have been the end of everything, but the petrodollar saved it. But watch this, though. Watch this. Everybody else still has, in order to get U.S. dollars to buy oil, they still got to manufacture something solid and then sell it to get money. What are we doing? Printing dollars. That's called financialized capital. Money out of thin air, people. That's it. Money out of thin air. We're not making any. That's why, brother, that's how we went from, at the end of the Civil War, being a manufacturing economy to a debt economy.
Absolutely. Now, and what's crazy is it's also goes back to the foundation of this country, because there was a conflict between, I want to say Alexander Hamilton. I can't remember his name, but one of them have a quote where they say, the price of liberty was our debt, was America's debt. That was the price of liberty. So they have been playing this game for quite a long time, since the foundation of it. And you have people like Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, who didn't like bankers. Who always viewed the bankers as the downfall of this country.
So the samurai class, there's a book, you all have heard of it, I'm sure. The Japan's most famous samurai, his name is Miyamoto Musashi, wrote the Book of Five Rings. book of philosophy, right?
Yeah. I've heard of that.
But most of the translations are for like corporate people. But there's this one translation that's written for military people because those were military people that wrote it.
Right.
And he talked about in the forward of the book how the samurai class hated the merchant class. You know why? Because the samurai class, they're warriors. They do it right up close and personal. Right? The merchant class can erase a whole village with a ledger error in a book.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, bro.
100%. And so what's interesting too is that there's the brother Shahid Bolson.
Yes, that's my guy.
He's like I call him the for lack of better words, the white Malcolm X.
Yo, bro, he would be honored by that. You know that, right?
He'd be sitting
Malcolm
there like
X
this.
is his idol.
Yeah. But he had a really excellent video, and I actually was watching this video when I was in Mecca doing Umrah, and he was breaking down how pretty much how the GC, how you say him? The GC, the OCGFG. Am I saying that right?
OCGFG. Yep.
OCGFC.
Yes.
Had already laid blueprints down for Bitcoin and crypto. If you look at there's a book called a comic book called Road to Ruta that the Federal Reserve put out in the 70s, basically explaining cryptocurrency. Road to Ruta, ROOTA. And also he talks about a certain report where they were saying some of the things you're saying now as far as how the US is being decommissioned. And
yes, brother.
The global South and emerging markets are being positioned to set up, multiple hegemonies, like you said. And I remember me and Ilamir back in the day, remember we had filed a lawsuit and they brought up that we was talking about city-states. It was something that we said that we surmised that the world will go back.
It's going back to that,
city-states.
No, that's a fact. That's fact.
And these there will be these eco-region zones where it's just wildly populated, but it'd be these mega cities, and these mega cities are going back to city-states. And
that's right.
You can see that now with the tech bros, because there's a company, there's some tech bros in Honduras who are trying to set up their own tech city outside of the jurisdiction of the local government, but now they kind of hinged at the hip because of certain politics that are taking place. So I just want to add that to what you're saying, because what it does is it sets the stage for us to see where things is going. And that lets us as Moors know how we need to be observing things and how we need to be positioning ourselves in America. Because like you said, Noble Drew Ali said, the gears of commerce is going to stop. And when it opens up.
When they start back up in our favor. Think about it. Okay, let's talk. Okay, real simple then. Watch. The term global South, you're really talking about the non-aligned nations, the non-European nations, right?
Yes.
So here we go, right? America still, even though we're reduced to a regional hegemon, we're still one of the most viable markets on the planet.
I just talked about this.
But now watch this. Euro imperialism has gone the way of the dinosaur, and the rest of the world is moving beyond it. But America is still a viable market in that respect. Meaning, I'll just quote Prophet Drew Ali. This is what he said. One day the United States is not going to be able to do any business unless it's through the AGI. We are the United States representatives of the global South nation.
And you have to know so much to come to that conclusion.
Yes.
Because I give an example. I was at the Dubai Expo in 2021. And they have it every 5 years, right? And it's where the world gets together, and they have these different pavilions, and they're showing you what we're doing in technology, what we want our country to go, what are the things that are important to us. I went to a number of countries, and these are diplomats actually running these pavilions, right? The UAE created an entire city in the middle of the desert. It's still there now to host this.
Woof.
you know, I go and I speak to them because I'm, you know, I got, you know, business plans and things, you know, in this same space that, you know, that we want to proliferate with.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, listen, you know, tell me more about it. I want to do this, I want to do that. And they said, who are you? Where you from? I said, oh, I'm a Moor. I'm a Moor.
Yes.
You from America? Yeah. I said, yeah, I'm a Moor from America. I'm Moorish American, American Moor, however you want to flip it. But I'm a Moor and I'm from America.
Yep.
It was like, oh, okay. I was going to show you all of the contacts and the cards I got, but the point I'm making is I'm talking about each and every single one of them. And this is over 50 countries that I went to.
Wow.
They eat, every time I said who I was and where I was from.
Yes.
They was like, okay, follow me. Come to the back. Tea, coffee, cookies, muffins, donuts. I've been waiting for your people. We've been waiting for your people to come do business with us.
That's so crazy.
That was the response I got from virtually every country that I visited.
Woo. Y'all know we got to do a part 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
we got to do a part 3.
Yeah. We had the same time limit as before, so we can stop it here and but
man, oh man.
Now we just started getting to the stuff that we want to.
Now we're in the present
stuff. Now we're in the present.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with that, we'll close out, and I'll let Elamir, you get the word. I'll say something, then you get the final word. My brother
problem.
Sharif.
Yes, sir.
What you want to end us off with, Elamir? What's your last statements for tonight's show?
Man, great show, man. Bars with the Z. You know, love it. Got to keep it up.
Yes,
got to do a part 3. Let me know what the date and time. I'm there.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and shut it down. Take that nightcap and wish everybody all well.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. For me, again, high honors, high appreciation for both of you brothers, and especially our esteemed guest, brother Sharif Anael Beige. As you all will see, he brought it. He brought it tonight. He brought the heat. You know, and of course, my brother Elamir is always going to hit us with some poignant sources and perspectives and references to things that cement and make the foundation of the conversation firm, makes our conversation stand on firm foundation. But I just gotta tip my fez to you, my brother Sharif, of doing a phenomenal, excellent job tonight and smashing atoms and bringing some light to this darkness and giving us setting the stage for how our people, how the world really, but specifically how our people should be viewing the current conditions and moving forward. We get so caught in the past, and as you can see, we know what we're talking about when we come to the past. There's a lot still to be discovered.
Absolutely.
But how do we take that data and move the needle forward from the present to now? And I think that you've been phenomenal in starting to lay the groundwork, you know, for that.
Brother.
You know, so those would be my final statements.
All I got to say, well, first thing I want to say about you two, More Kush in general, but you two in particular, y'all are a sniper team. You know, Massa's the spotter, and Al Mansour is the shooter. Like, for real.
honest.
Yo, it's crazy watching you all in action. I like it. Yo, for real. But you can see you all have time in with each other. You know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing to see, right? It's a beautiful thing to be a part of, too. I want to thank you all for this opportunity. You know what I mean? And it's an opportunity to share, but to Brother Mansour's point, we want to be effective because we want to aid and assist our people. You know, we want to be like how what's the statement about the man? We want to be like the man who understands the wisdom in planting a seed for a tree that he will never enjoy the shade of.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we're here to do. And so I'm just happy to be useful. And I'm thrilled. I'm always thrilled to find teammates. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
unity doesn't mean uniformity.
That's right. That's right.
You see?
Right.
Yeah, it don't mean
Right.
uniformity.
That's right.
You know? Yeah, we don't. Yeah, man. Again, to know each other and not despise each other. Right?
Exactly. Because
Right.
it's
But how do you do that? You have the conversation. You get to know. You get to know each other.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. And so for the audience, I just got to say this. Like, again, yes, the purpose of knowing the history and having the proper narrative is so you can make sense of present assessments, of present issues, you see, and make intelligent motion, make intelligent moves. And man, we're in, as Brother Manson put it, we're in far better shape than we realize. We're in far better shape. We just need to look in the right directions, you know? And the last thing I'll just say about that, and we're going to get more into it on part 3, is, yeah, we grew up under the Eurocentric narrative, as, you know, we grew up under it, but it's evaporating, people. Don't lament it. You know, like the brother Manson was talking about what we just city-states. Understand what that is, people. That's just going back to pre-colonial times. That means the end of Euro imperialism. And as Shahid Bolson said it recently, yeah, at first when you excavate it looks ugly. Don't be dismayed by the disintegration of what you've been used to. Because what's under the deeper surface is gold and jewels. You know what I'm saying? Is what your forefathers left you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See? Ain't nothing wrong with city-states. Ain't nothing wrong with the Silk Road coming back.
Yeah. No.
Nothing
Want that
wrong with
old
it at
thing
all.
back.
Right.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to say that Manson, see, you all inspired me, I promise you. Manson said,
listen, you saying so much now, I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to keep from adding on and making this. You saying so many things. I'm trying to keep quiet right now. Yeah, brother.
But you said something earlier that sparked this thought about we have to now demonstrate, and that's what we're doing with these shows. We're demonstrating that we can not only can put our finger on the pulse of the problem, which demonstrates intelligence, but also that we are on the path of decolonizing our thinking. So this is something I took from Shahid Bolson, was dope. He said this. He said, yo, you want to show that your thinking is decolonized? Okay, citizenship, American citizenship, you can't put a price tag on it because you can't put a price tag on your allegiance and your lifeblood. But what does our president do? $5 million Vico Visa citizenship card. He put a price on it. Yeah, that's sacrilegious. But watch this. You want to put a price tag on citizenship, $5 million? How about 10 of us get together and then go petition and get that 50 mil? Of course, it'll never happen, but it demonstrates that your thinking is decolonized.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See?
Absolutely. And just to the audience, y'all have to know that us 3 brothers up here have decolonized our minds so long ago that us sitting here discussing these things with you guys at the level we're discussing it, we just hope that you can take what we're giving you and have a decolonized mind as soon as possible, because this is something we've been doing for decades.
For a minute.
We done been through the fire.
And Brother Mansa, to your point, the evidence of that is the fact, and I want to say this to the audience, that none of this is scripted.
Oh, man.
Right.
None of this is scripted.
Yeah.
We just
None
talking.
of this is scripted. None of it. We're just talking.
Yeah, this is not scripted, people.
This is just a conversation.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Man.
Facts.
So with that, man, I just got to
top of the head.
Yeah, it's all off the top. All off the top. You know? So again, without further ado, honest to our esteemed guest, Sharif Anael Bey.
Yes, sir.
Breaking Adams. You know, honest to El Mansour for gracing us with his presence and doing what he does best. And inshallah, we're going to see y'all on the next one. And Y'all be ready for the clips to drop, and we're going to keep this thing going until we get this message out. And let me say this right now. Hey, my brother, even after we end this series, you're always welcome in any space that we're a part of.
Absolutely.
Always.
Likewise,
this is an
likewise,
open door invitation. This is not like we're going to do this. This is an open door invitation at any time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Beautiful. Yes,
So,
sir. Yes,
with
sir.
that, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Wa
wa
alaikum salam,
barakatuh.
brothers.
Peace and
Yes,
love.
sir.
Wa alaikum
Peace and love.
salam.
And we're going to see y'all on the next one.